So a major bill has finally passed here in the United States. And this is huge because this is a huge win for millions and millions of people. This means more than 300 million Americans and also people abroad. I want to address what's going on and explain exactly how this happened and what this means for you coming up. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's begin. For more than 6 months, lawmakers have been attempting to pass a major bill, or at least negotiate part of it. However, they've had very little success. Now things have changed. Look at this. This, according to the Associated Press, says House votes to prevent a government shutdown as GOP Speaker Johnson relies on Democrats for help. What essentially happened earlier on today, this is Tuesday, November 14th, is the House of Representatives put a bill on the floor. This was a bill for a laddered continuing resolution, which allows the funding for the U.S. government to continue. Well, this bill was something that Democrats mocked, said that they would never go for this. However, they now realize this might be the only opportunity to keep the government funded. So, in a vote today, it says right here, the bipartisan tally, 336 yeses to 95 noes, with also 93 Republicans voting no. It says show Johnson's willingness to leave his right flank Republicans behind and work with Democrats to temporarily keep government running. The same political move that cost the last House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, his job just weeks ago. Actually, it was more than weeks ago. It was over a month ago. But the reason why this is such a big deal is because some did not think we would get a government funding bill. Well, here's what Speaker Mike Johnson had to say. He says, making sure the government stays in operation is a matter of conscience for all of us. We owe that to the American people. Now, what is this bill and how important is this? Well, it is extremely important for 2 reasons. One, it keeps the government funded. And the second, it gives both Republicans and Democrats an opportunity to go back and negotiate a little bit longer. But it keeps the government funded. Look at this. It says Johnson's proposal put forward a unique, critics say bizarre, 2-part process. This is the laddered continuing resolution. It says that temporarily funds some federal agencies to January 19th and others until February 2nd. It says it comes without any of the deep cuts conservatives have demanded. It also fails to include President Joe Biden's request for nearly $106 billion for Ukraine, Israel, border security, and other supplemental funds. This bill there's nothing additional that's attached to it. This is why many say this could be the perfect compromise. But I want to read this down here. It says Johnson says the innovative approach would position House Republicans, quote, to go into the fight for deeper spending cuts in the new year. However, many Republicans are skeptical that this would even happen and that they would get a better outcome in January. The good news, though, this bill passed. Now it has to go to the Senate. Well, according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, they now are saying that this bill will have quick passage. Okay, they anticipate quick passage of this legislation. This bill, though, like I said before, does not include anything for Israel, doesn't include any additional humanitarian aid for Gaza, and it includes nothing for Ukraine. There's no $60 billion here for Ukraine. It's not being included. Now, some people ask me, as soon as this bill passed in the House of Representatives, I got many comments. I got a lot of comments, got a lot of emails, got some text messages as well. People were asking, is this actually going to pass? Because we've seen it before where the House of Representatives have passed a bill. The Senate gets the same bill and they pass it. It goes to President Biden's desk and he vetoes that bill. Is he going to veto that bill? Is he going to simply reject it because it doesn't have any humanitarian aid for Gaza, nothing for Israel, and nothing for Ukraine? Well, here's what we know. President Biden was asked about that. He was asked about that yesterday on Monday. And it says Biden declined to issue a veto threat on Monday when given the opportunity. And according to The White House, Senator Schumer said he spoke with the White House about this continuing resolution, and they agree if this can avoid a shutdown, it will be a good thing. Some say that if it's good enough, then it's good enough. It cannot be the perfect bill. Okay, it's something that Obama used to always say as well, that we can't let good be the enemy of great or something like that, and that's essentially true. If it's good enough, let's pass it. It may not be great, may not be perfect, but it'd be good enough. Now, here's something we do know. Right now, there's still legislation out there for $14.3 billion that are headed to Israel. That bill has passed through the House of Representatives. However, it's being stuck in the Senate. We learned that Senate Democrats blocked the bipartisan House bill that would send $14.3 billion to Israel. But why are they doing that? Because don't Democrats want to send more money to Israel? And the answer is yes. However, they were on the fence about it initially because $14.3 billion is a substantial amount of money. Also, we are sending money to Israel, who is sending missiles into Gaza, hitting hospitals and schools and residents, and it is taking the lives of women, children, preemies, elderly, civilians. And now we're seeing backlash worldwide. Well, what I can tell you is that, yes, that bill has been blocked because, number one, it is tied to pulling money from the IRS. And number two, it is sending money to Israel, which now some people are saying we cannot do. Which brings me to the next thing. And I just want to preface this by saying that this is something that the United States does, whether you know it or not. So there is a bill that, yes, send additional $14.3 billion to Israel. Right? More funding so that they can buy more equipment and for whatever they need, right? Well, that also blocks additional funding for things like munitions, right? Military equipment. Well, then we see stories like this, where the U.S. is quietly sending Israel more ammunition and missiles. It says supplying shells for Apache gunships, bunker buster munitions. Arms arrived on a near daily basis, according to the Defense Department. Did you know that? If you knew that, put it down in the comment section below. Most people don't realize that the Pentagon continues to send stuff all overseas. So much equipment. Look at this. Again, this is from today, November 14th. It says the Pentagon has quietly ramped up military aid to Israel, delivering on requests that include more laser-guided missiles for its Apache gunship fleet, as well as 155mm shells, night vision devices, bunker buster munitions, and new Army vehicles, according to an internal Defense Department list. Most people don't realize that. But yes, the United States, still sends $3.8 billion to Israel every single year, and has done that for over 20 years. Now, sometimes the amount goes up, but it hardly ever goes down. This is where things are at right now. So yes, the House of Representatives did pass a massive bill that is likely going to pass the Senate in just mere days. When it does, it will head to President Biden's desk for a signature. That will keep the U.S. government funded for another couple months. The thing with that is once this happens, then the House of Representatives and the Senate can move on to the next thing. The next thing could be funding for Israel, for Gaza, and for Ukraine. So I promise I'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on there. But all I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.